MMA Boxing Talk here. I just wanted to make a video talking about this upcoming year in the UFC. We're only a month into 2017, and it's definitely it's going to be a slow first half of 2017. There's no doubt about it. I think it'll really pick up second half of this year, but I just want to talk about a couple of fights that no doubt should be official before long, and talk about just some random stuff. It's been really slow in the UFC lately, so I'm just wanting to put out a video talking about the stuff that might be on people's minds, especially hardcore fans. But one thing is nice, well, for Jon Jones fans or for anyone that just wants to see the best fight the best. Dana White said that Jon Jones, when he comes back in July, he'll be fighting DC or Rumble. The winner, DC and Rumble, are fighting in April, so the winner, will fight Jon Jones. It's a big deal. Jon Jones has gone through so much crap. There's a lot of people that just say, why does he deserve an immediate title shot? After all the stuff he's been through and things like that. The UFC is looking for stars. People know Jon Jones. He sells tickets. He might not be a pay-per-view star like Conor or Ronda, but especially if DC wins, there's a lot of history there. They can really build that up and make a big pay-per-view with Jones and DC. But DC's got to get past Rumble. That should be in July, I'm thinking. But the thing is, DC Rumble, the winner, they might not, be ready to fight 2-3 months later against arguably the best fighter that's ever lived. They might want maybe to fight Jon Jones in the fall. But anyway, I just want to talk about other fights now. Stipe Miocic versus Junior Dos Santos. That's the only one that it's not official, but they're talking about it on MMA Beat. That looks like it's gonna happen. Fabricio Werdum, he turned down that fight with Junior Dos Santos, so he doesn't deserve the shot. So I mean, this is perfect. Stipe has a loss on his record to Junior Dos Santos. It was a very close fight. The first time I watched it, I thought it was it could have been a draw, but I did give 3 rounds to Junior. I thought Stipe did enough to win the first 2 rounds, and then Junior won the last 3. But Stipe had some good moments in those last 3 rounds as well. So very great fight. Can't wait to see the rematch. That is supposed to be UFC 211, which would be May 13th in Dallas, Texas. That's the rumor. Also, Dana White said apparently Bisping versus Romero will be next. You can't take Dana White's word, extremely. You can't take everything he says literally, because a lot of times, he's a promoter. That's the problem. Dana White is not just the president. He's the promoter. In boxing, they don't have this issue. There's the promoters, and then the presidents of the sanctioning bodies. But in UFC, it's Dana White. He has a lot on his table. Anyway, but he has to. That's the thing. No promoter has ever loved. Don King, Bob Arum, Al Heyman. Al Heyman's not even a promoter, but anyway, promoters are never loved. They have to sell tickets. Sometimes they lie. Sometimes they make shit up to make headlines, to make controversy, whatever. But I do think Bisping is going to fight Romero. I think the UFC is going to get away from what Conor basically did. And Conor's an exception, because Conor is the biggest pay-per-view star the UFC's ever seen. But now all the fighters want what Conor has and what Conor gets. They want the Conor treatment, but it just doesn't work that way. So you got to have the fans. You got to have the fan base. You got to have the star power. You got to be a draw. So Bisping, he's going to fight Romero next. I'm thinking that might happen in June, maybe July. Bisping just had a knee surgery, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there. It'll be interesting to see how long. I mean, he might be ready to fight in 4 months, sometime like June, but I'm really not sure. It might be a little longer. He's not the youngest, fighter out there. I think he's 37, Bisping, but another fight, that's gonna happen. I'm almost positive is Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway. You got to make that fight probably June or May. I'd be shocked, if Aldo and Holloway, end up fighting in say like April on the Stipe Junior Dos Santos card. I can't see it happening that quick in 3 months from now. But June or May, I could see Aldo fighting Holloway. Another great fight. Hardcore fans, are licking their chops for that fight, and especially myself. I'm really looking forward to Aldo Holloway. I think that would be a great stand-up, striking battle. Very, very technical. The, the the greatest featherweight champion on paper, only has one loss to Conor McGregor, and a lot of people think that's a fluke. Of course, the rematch would be different, but it's not a fluke what happened to Jose Aldo, but doesn't take away from his legacy and the career he's had. Max Holloway's on a 10-fight win streak. I mean, that's unheard of. It's unheard of. So, it's huge fight. And I mean, Conor McGregor is the champion. Of course, everyone still sees him as the champion at featherweight, but the thing is that Aldo versus Holloway would give us a legit champion. It's bullshit. Aldo just got the belt for free. I mean, of course, he's the man. If Conor's out of the division, he is the man. But this time, now he's gonna have to prove it against Jose Aldo or against Max Holloway. But that fight should happen June or May. If it happens in July, it's like, why does it have to take that long? Max Holloway fought in December against Pettis. He really didn't take too much damage. Jose Aldo hasn't fought in forever. He hasn't fought since last summer. Does Jose Aldo want to wait a full year before he fights again? So that's why I think June or May for that one. Another fight that I think could happen very shortly. This fight could happen in April. I wouldn't be surprised in 3 months from now. Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko, number 2, the rematch. That's a huge fight. That's a really interesting fight because both ladies have done tremendously since their fight. Nunes beat Shevchenko in a very close decision. Go back and watch that fight. I mean, the first round was pretty close. The second was definitely Nunes's, but the third, Shevchenko was all over her. And Nunes seemed to gas a little bit. This will be a 5-round fight. But since then, Nunes, she beat 2 legends in the sport, Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey, and she outclassed them, both first-round finishes. And Valentina Shevchenko, maybe not as, she's been more quiet about it, but her performance against Holly Holm, who, is a tremendous striker, she just outclassed Holly Holm in that fight. Counter struck, counter punching, counter striking the whole time. Unreal. Great performance. And then also to beat Juliana Pena, to submit Juliana Pena. I mean, she's a very well-rounded mixed martial artist, and that rematch is going to be great. And that could happen sooner rather than later because Shevchenko didn't really take any damage in her fight. Nunes fought at the end of December, and she didn't take any damage. So that could happen soon. I can't wait for that one. I also could see Francis and Ngannou fighting in the first half of 2017. Believe it or not, I made a prediction who will be the fighter of the year in 2017, and my pick was Francis Ngannou. You can go back and find that video I made. He's my prediction for fighter of the year, and I said, he's got to get past Arlovsky, and he's got to get past Arlovsky in impressive fashion for me to continue to believe that he will be the fighter of the year, and he did it. So he's already on his way. Hopefully, I think ideally, you could give him Ben Rothwell right now. I think that'd be a good fight. It's a big step up for Francis Ngannou. But I really like to see Ngannou fight the winner of Derek Lewis versus Travis Brown. I know you might be killing off a contender a future prospect in Derek Lewis or in Ngannou if one of them loses. But I mean, that's what I do. Ben Rothwell, I mean, that'd be a great fight too. I would like that fight. But they're talking, he's calling out Cain Velasquez. He's calling out um, Alistair Overeem. We'll see what's going to happen. But Francis Ngannou's next fight will be huge, and that will be in the first half of 2017. I can almost guarantee it. So there's some good fights to look forward to. It's not a casual fan's dream. There's nothing that's going to really impress the casual fans, but to hardcore fans and people that are listening to this video, we can get excited about these fights. Stipe versus Junior Dos Santos, Bisping Romero, Aldo versus Holloway, Nunes Shevchenko rematch. I'm pretty certain all those fights are going to happen. Also, probably in July-ish, July, August, maybe in the fall, we're going to get Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier or Rumble Johnson, whoever wins in April. Second half of the year, one fight that is guaranteed, which, everyone's excited for this one, is, of course, Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. One of the best fights the UFC can put together. One of the best fights on the roster, is Garbrandt versus Dillashaw. I cannot wait. They're going to do the Ultimate Fighter thing. So they'll be fighting, I'm going to say, international weekend. UFC International Fight Week. They'll be fighting probably there. It'll be interesting to see, though, if they're on the pay-per-view or not, because normally the Ultimate Fighter show, when they have their finale, it's not a pay-per-view. And we really want to measure where Cody Garbrandt is. So I'm not sure if they're going to, not go measure as in what kind of pay-per-view star he is, because we want to see what Garbrandt can generate if he can become that next level. I mean, it's interesting, though. Conor McGregor, we'll see if he'll make a return. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, who knows what's going to happen. I want to see him fight the winner of Khabib versus Tony in the fall. That would be ideal. And that's basically all I really wanted to talk about and to go through. I mean, another fight, though, to me, the best fight that can be made on the UFC roster, period, the best matchup, I don't care what anyone says, is Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson, and that's taking place March 4th. Believe it or not, this will be the third time that fight got scheduled. Injuries, both guys got, Khabib got injured the first time it was scheduled. Tony got injured the second time it was scheduled. This will be the third time. Number 1 versus number 2. Both guys, Khabib Nurmagomedov is undefeated. He's 8-0 in the UFC. Tony is on a 9-fight win streak in the UFC. It's going to be fireworks, and that's March 4th. To me, that's the best fight the UFC can make, and that's the fight I'm most excited for. That'll be in March. Cody Garbrandt, Dillashaw would be the second fight I'm looking forward to most. That's an amazing matchup, too. But let me know what you guys think. But I just had to put out a video. It's been a while since I've put out a video. Not much going on in UFC, so I just wanted to, gab a little bit about the UFC and some of the big fights that are coming. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what fight you guys are most looking forward to out of the ones I named, even if I didn't name it. Let me know. But that's it for this one. If you like the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMABoxingTalk1. That's it for this one. Peace.